happening was about 6 months ago. She let out a huge cry in the middle of the night, and she was in bed with all of Hunter and I, with my wife and I, and my wife, well, when she let out that big cry, that huge cry, then she went to the restroom in the bed, and actually went to the restroom on my wife's back. And so my wife was freaked out, and so she turned over, and when she turned over, I think that resuscitated, or it put pressure on Tayzy's lungs, and it resuscitated her that time. The reason why I'm saying resuscitate is because she had a heart murmur, or a heart arrhythmia, so she was getting more and more fluid in her lungs, and so she was drowning, slowly, and I was giving her some medicine. It's a diuretic, but it was just getting worse and worse, and that's what the doctor told us. That's what the vet told us. It was going to get worse and worse, so, it was kind of expected. But anyway, so about 6 months ago, she let out that blood-curdling cry, and I think she died about 6 months ago, but then my wife accidentally gave her air back into her, put the air back into her lungs, resuscitated her, and so she came back to life during that time, about 6 months ago. And then a few weeks ago, then it was in the middle of the night, and she let out another blood-curdling cry, really, really loud, and then I can't remember what my wife did, but she resuscitated her again, and so she came back to life. And then a few days ago, she let out another blood-curdling cry. And during the meantime, I've been giving her Lasix, which is the diuretic that I was telling you about. I think I've been giving her 20 milligrams every 12 hours. I think that what it does is it makes the dog urinate more, so that they don't have so much fluid. They don't get so much fluid in their lungs. But what happened is, about 6 months ago, she almost died, and then about 3 weeks ago, then she almost died, and then a couple days ago, then she let out that blood-curdling cry, and these always happen at night, because during the day, she's just fine. She's very vibrant. She has lots of energy. She wags her tail. She's very, very excited. She's very happy. She hardly ever coughs during the day, but at night, it's very, very, it's like a nightmare. It's so hard for her, because she lays down, and all the fluid just starts to build up in her lungs, and it gets harder and harder for her to breathe as the night goes on. And so, I have to give her the Lasix diuretic. I had to give it to her a few times last night. Instead of once every 12 hours, I had to give her once every 6 hours to try and get her to breathe a little bit better. So it wouldn't be so bad. But then, not last night, but the night before, that was her 4th time, and so she let out that blood-curdling cry, and we really thought that she was going to die that night. But my wife, picked her up and lifted her up and down a couple times, and she rejuvenated, or she was revived again. So that was the fourth time, and I just made me think about all the times that, I've been really close to dying, and it's such a horrible feeling. I mean, it's different for everybody, but, for like throwing up, I just feel like I'm gonna die. It's a horrible, horrible feeling, and if she has to go through that, if she had to go through that every one of those times, and I don't know if she could sleep at night very well, because, there's always that time where, she might not be able to breathe, and it's harder and harder to breathe at night, and that's when you're supposed to sleep, so I just thought it was just too much. So I finally decided, yesterday, that it was just time. It was time for her to let her go, to put her down, to let her go, and it was a really, really tough decision. I didn't know if it was the right decision, but